All right, so this live stream is a little bit different today because we're experimenting with a new platform called Streamlabs. And from my experience as a designer, you have things that are like Canva, which is very simple and easy to use, and then things like Photoshop, where you need to know the ins and outs. And that's what Streamlabs has done for me. It's like, oh my gosh, this is the Photoshop of design. Canva, which is very simple and easy to use. Awesome. So it's official. We are live and it is working. The question is, do we
Yeah,
want
we're
to keep
live, and for some reason it's still playing. Close it
yeah,
out.
do we want to
Oh my
keep this
gosh.
platform or change it? And I think that's the question here. But we have so much to bring today because we talked a little bit in this week about the life cycle of a father as an entrepreneur and the things that we want for our kids and the things that we expect. I guess that's one thing. And then, yeah, the growing pains of understanding. Like, I guess when I looked at this, when I made this decision to go to Streamlabs, there's a few reasons, right? So, one, you look at StreamYard. StreamYard is easy to use. Here's the benefits: it's easy to use. It connects to your. It's easy to find the connections to the destinations. Like you couldn't even find yours right now, but it's $60 a month. The other piece of Streamlabs is that they give you multiple platforms to use, multiple softwares for this one payment of $149 a year. And this is one of them, but then you can go a little bit deeper with like what I think is the Photoshop of streaming, which we could do that too and add destinations, but it is so complicated because it's like add a scene here, add this, add that, add your comments. It is cool and it's definitely meant for gamers and like Twitch
Yeah.
streamers and things like that. So
Also, too, there's no point in making your life hard if you don't have to.
this is true. But see, on the other part of it was me is like I'm going streaming with these poker games and things like that. So the
Oh,
stream
okay.
lab is solid. And I
I
was
see.
like, oh man, how do I do this for both? I think that's why I was like, oh, we're rolling with this. Because I saw this and I thought, oh, it was easy, but I got in here like 10 or 15 minutes ago and I'm like, oh, wait, this is not as easy as I thought. So here we are. How was your holiday, man? So we're off coming off a holiday. How was your New Year's?
Holiday was good. Um, Holiday was real good. New Year's, New Year's night, or New Year's Eve night. Uh, I had an argument. Everything was going good. I was watching Oppenheimer, and I had an argument with a very special person in my life.
No
We were talking
names.
about New Year's, like what we're trying to do in the new year, like positive stuff, and somehow it turned into like some sort of situation. And then so the next day, we made it a point. It was New Year's Day now. We made it a point to like be like, look, what was that about? And basically, it just was both people were just frustrated with kind of themselves the previous year, and it was that's what it was. But then going into this new year, we've been killing it because we had a family meeting, talked with the kids, teenage daughters, and laid down the law and
Love
basically
it.
said this year's about really working on everyone's bad habits. And everyone agreed. Everyone said their own bad habits and said what they wanted to do. We did ins and outs. So what's in and what's out. And I've been in the gym every day since
Hey,
then. Like I've been like it. I feel it's something weird about holiday and New Year, where it's like you could start changing habits any time of the year, but it's like a fresh year. It just mentally feels different, and I would say this that like I'm so excited for this year, and you know I'm good. I'm happy.
that's good to hear. I think the one thing about if you want to call them New Year's resolutions, like the problem I have with it is that they don't last, right? And then it's
Yeah,
like this like, oh, you beat yourself up because you didn't make it, you didn't follow through. You had this New Year resolution, there's always next year. So like that's yeah, I
Well, you know the
understand.
one thing about new. So this is the one thing that. Um, so I wrote this because I'm a nerd. I'm a weirdo. I wrote this like this framework for like how to like improve yourself, right? And I based it on a bunch of other stuff that I've learned. But what I was really trying to do was I wasn't trying to like be like an intellectual. What I was trying to do is make something for myself so I can succeed. And through my research, I realized that we're two different people. Like meaning that in yourself, you are two different people. You are the subconscious version of Michael and the conscious version of Michael. And I think when we make New Year's resolutions, it's our conscious mind saying, "Hey, I want to change these things." But you never tell the subconscious that you
Mm,
want to change those things. And the subconscious is actually who you are and who's in control. And my dad told me an analogy because my dad played football, in the NFL and all that. And he said that one of the things he always learned, or the coaches used to say, was practice is for thinking and the games are for reacting.
mm,
And to me, basically what he was saying is that in the real world, when it really comes down and somebody puts a donut in front of you, that's the game. And if you haven't been practicing what you really should be doing when it's game time, you're going to react. And do you want your reactions to be grab the donut, or do you want your reactions to be, oh no, I stay away from donuts? And I think that was why I struggled, because I would have conversations with you all the time. Bro, I suck at this. I want to change this, but I was in the conscious. So I just think that you have to like be more intentional to get into the subconscious. So it's your reaction, your reflex is the right thing.
oh,
So,
for sure. I think I read a book called Habits,
mm-hmm.
and in the book Habits, or maybe it's Habitual Habits. I don't even know, but it's like this popular
Atomic
book,
habits.
Atomic Habits. Thank you, sir. And it's all about, and he talks about this football coach that goes in and he says, "Look, we are going to practice one play. That's all we're practicing for the whole year." And it was like this one play got executed every day, day in and day out. And like you're saying, it becomes like subconsciously, like you're like, all right, I know exactly what I need to do. You're not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
And he would say the reaction time of people, like even though everyone knew exactly the plays that they would run and they focus on like the one specific play, they would knew it, but they couldn't, because it would be fractions of a second that would make a difference between making the good play or not making it. And it was because the intentional of always practicing, creating that habit around, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. And then like you say, it comes to the game time, it's like they know exactly how to execute it perfectly because
Yeah.
they know their position and whatever. So it was great. It was a great
Yeah.
analogy or a great
That is a
story
great
that he
analogy.
said. And it was like, man, that's exactly it. And funny enough, what happens for me is like, so I cut my own hair, right? So I enjoy that piece of it. And when I shave and I clean cut, I feel so much better. And I hear that guy, he's a coach now for Colorado, Deion Sanders, and he goes, the coaches, when we were playing, they would make us dress up, and we all like we hated the suits, whatever, da 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 da. He says, but look, when you look good, you feel good, and when you
Mhm.
feel good, you play good. And I cut my hair today, so I felt that. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. I feel cleansed. And
It's
maybe that's what
true.
it is for New Year's, right?
Yeah.
Like a New Year's cleanse. It's like, all
Yep.
right, we can let go of 2023, and now
Yep.
it's like this fresh. I'm fresh now.
Yeah.
And
Even though 2023 was what, last week,
last week, but look, that's
feels
how
like
it's
it feels like it's done. I'm done with it.
gone. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's important. I mean, people who live in the past, people who like hold on to those things, yeah, it's just dead weight, man. Because then you can do about
Yeah. I call them archaeologists because they like to dig up the past.
it. Well, speaking of the holidays, this is one of our conversations, right? Speaking of the holidays, I take my kids out, right? I work so hard to give them these experiences, So, or we go light on Christmas, right? So we don't give too much gifts, but we rather do a trip or an experience. And funny enough, my one son last year, not 23, 2022, last year we did Indianapolis Colts game. They played the Chargers. It was a surprise, right? So the Christmas present was actual hoodies of the team that we chose to pick, right? And I chose Chargers. This is like,
Dang. My
LA.
dad played for the Colts.
Oh man. Well, the
Betrayal.
but straight betrayal. So we were the only ones there with like the yellow and light blue. But that's how they knew, right? So we drove down for 2 nights or a night. I don't remember if it was 2 nights or one night. We brought one of his friends, and to this day he still talks about it. But we had an opportunity. We did the tailgating thing. We were in Indianapolis. We did some Indianapolis food restaurants, and it was a total immersive experience. So this year, what I decided to do, we're in Florida now, right? So I said, oh, Al Capone was like having a dinner show. And I could remember as a kid doing a murder mystery show. And I thought it was like so interesting, which that's what I thought this was, but it was not. It was just literally singing and dancing and like prohibition stuff. But I thought like someone was going to die and we had to try to figure it out. And that's what I thought it was. So for their gifts this year, what I did is I bought them all 50s gangster outfits. I have a huge hat. My sons had like suspenders and things like that. So that was their gift, and we went there. And when we were at the place, they said, okay, because I bought VIP experience, so we got like free gifts or whatever, and we got the shot glasses. Prohibition era, that's Al Capone's thing, right? And when my kids go back home, I look and I see like the shot glass that my daughter left. And I'm like, it broke my heart. Cause I was like, excuse me, I do all this stuff. I want to do all these things for you. Don't you want a memory? I don't want you to drink out of this thing. Heck no, right? But it's like, because I have some memories from the Indianapolis Colts game. I had like the little helmet or whatever. And I can look at it just like a memory. Now I got the shot glass. So I was a little disappointed and I was like, damn, that sucked. But you said something profound. And you said that like what's important to us may not be important to them.
Yeah. That's definitely it. Especially when I'm hearing you even say the story again. Like you just got a gift for yourself.
Ah,
And this
I
is not
know.
like because you said you dressed them up in little gangster outfits. That sounds like something for
Yeah.
you.
That is so me. But listen,
I'm not hating on you or nothing.
yeah,
It's
no,
just
I appreciate listen, I love
that was a
feedback.
gift for yourself. You had all your family around. You work hard, but yeah, I do the same
It
thing.
was
I think parents do that though.
yeah.
It's a parent thing. You can't
I
help
would
it.
say it was hard finding a gift this year because I didn't know what to do because last year I didn't feel like I could duplicate last year. Last year was fun. I didn't want to take them to another event,
Yeah,
sporting event.
yeah,
And we have the Disney stuff, so that I felt like that one have been really a good memory.
yeah,
Um, and I thought, but so next year, like they know this at this point because I geared them up. I was like, we're going to Vegas.
yeah.
We're going to Vegas. We're doing the medieval time show. Like we're doing that thing, right? Um, and so that's what we're gonna do.
So I would say two things. And again, this is not. I'm not a. I'm saying this. I know you know this. I'm saying this for the people watching. Me and you just share a lot of our lives with each other and get feedback, right? So I always feel safe to give you feedback because you always give me feedback. I'm not saying this is how you parent. It's just sometimes I wasn't a part of the situation, and I could just when I hear the story, this is my perspective on the story. I just want to make that clear for the people that
Yeah.
you give me parenting advice too, you give me relationship advice too, like so. But I've noticed with my daughters, I'm gonna come back to that Vegas thing in a second because I'm gonna ask you a question about that. Um, but I noticed with my daughters that they're 17 and 14, and I realized we created some monsters. Now, my
Oh,
daughters aren't bad kids. They're not brats, but they're spoiled
mm,
to the point where I remember, like, me and my wife were talking about how to get McDonald's when I was a kid was like a
mm,
special occasion. And my kids turn their nose up at McDonald's at this point. They turn their nose up at Chipotle. They're like, Chipotle again? And I'm like, they never want the same thing. So when my wife makes dinner, she has to figure out all these different meals.
Oh my gosh, I
And
know
because
this.
my daughters are so picky and they want certain things, and my one daughter, every time we go out to eat, she gets the most expensive stuff. And it's not their fault. It's they grew up with me and my wife wanting to do all this stuff for them. And I think that's also kind of what we might be playing in your situation because you're like me, but like times two. So like I know your kids have had amazing experiences over the years, like way dope experiences. Like I remember one time you invited me and my kids with you and your family to go laser tag, and this is like when
Yeah.
we first started, kind of like we were cool for a while. At that, I think we were in business together, but we we didn't. And you like we went to this Mexican restaurant, and you had, and it's like I don't even think I had to come on my pocket that day.
Mm.
So I think sometimes it's just you just elevated the bar so high that you've it's so high for it's even you having a hard time beating the bar.
For sure.
So I
For
think that's a
sure.
part of I think that's a part of it, which they do enjoy it. And if you were to sit them down, or if when they get older, when they tell their kids, they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, we had the best experiences growing up." I hear my mom still talking about the vacations that my grandfather and grandmother, who are passed away years ago, have took them on. So I think that might be a part of it too. It's just like you've been blessing them for so long, and it just kind of it ain't exciting no more. Like I don't know. And
Listen,
it's
we're
like
going.
sometimes,
We're,
so you got to remind them as a parent, like, hey man, just so you know, when you guys don't show gratitude, it does hurt my feelings. But go ahead.
well, we're going deep here, right? Because
Let's
like
go
if you
deep.
think about, for me, I've been dealing with this like life. What am I here for? What is life all about? And for me, it's come down to, man, as I think about this life, as I see my grandparents pass away and get older, at the end of the day, all we have is memories,
Yeah.
right? So I try to, even if it was for me, like this Capone thing, because yeah, I was like very, if you want to say lopsided,
Yeah.
like I wanted to do it, but it was like I had to do something different. So like we had a memory so that we can talk about it because when I pass away, all they're gonna have, like your mother, is memories, right? So
I think you
I
should do stuff for yourself. Like why are we doing why do we I told my wife this. Why are we doing all this stuff for our kids now? Like for real, like my daughter is 17, right? So she's going to college. Like where she's not gonna we already made up our mind that our daughter we only have two kids, right? So our daughter she's not gonna have to pay her college. So even if she gets loans and all that, that debt is our debt. Okay. So we're doing that for her. How much you think that's going to be? Now she's going to Kent State, so it's not like she's going to like a super expensive school, but that's over the next 4 years. That's a lot of money. And then until we die, anytime they need something, they're going to get something. I think at this point, it's like I'm doing stuff for myself. I'm going on vacations. I want to go on. If you want to go, if y'all want to go, y'all can go. This dinner, mom made dinner for me. I'm her husband because they're getting to a point where they're old enough where they're kind of fitting for themselves. They're making their own food. They're making their own decisions. But they're being too hard to please. And this is not. Listen, I'm not mad. Like this is not like I'm mad at them. I just feel like there's this weird situation where kids get older and they like separate from their parents a little bit because they want to be in their own space and explore the world in their own self. And I think that like I'm sensing that, and it's like, hey, we're going to Vegas. If y'all want to go, y'all can go. And it's like, okay, we'll go. And as you just happen to be on vacation with me and your mom, because even when you said, I told them next year we're going to Vegas,
yeah,
we're doing this. I'm like, you saying stuff that you want to do.
yeah.
Which is
Well,
okay. So I just feel like you're
yeah.
already doing it. You're already kind of saying like, "Hey, we're gonna
Well,
do it my way."
well. I took them to Vegas. I took one set of kids to Vegas, and they had a great time. And
Yeah,
like I think at the age that they are, Vegas is like this mystical thing, right? It's like, oh, I can only go when I'm 21, and it's the city of luxury or whatever it's considered. Um, and that's an appeal for a teenager who like wants to be an adult, who wants to get out
I
there.
listen. My kids love Vegas. We took them last year. We
Mm,
went into you know that you can't take them into the casinos. We broke every rule. My kids went
yeah,
into every casino. No one stopped us. We were walking around the
yeah,
casinos.
yeah.
They even loved. I know this is crazy, but I'm just like reinforcing what you said. It was like homeless people all around. People slept out on the sleep like gone on the streets. There was I got whipped. This lady, there was like these cowboys and cowgirls, and the women had bikinis on, and they had these like these whips, and it was like some new show, like some like striptease show. And this girl literally grabbed my arm and started spanking me in front of my kids. And I was like, "Girl,
Mm,
what you doing?" And I had to like pull snapped away from her. I was like, but my whole point is my kids love. They're like, "Where are we at? It's like
yeah,
grown up land. Like, what's going
yeah,
on?"
yeah. Grown up, it's totally
so,
grown up land.
so I'm saying to you that like that was so like they were just like going into places and be like, these are people. This is what gambling looks like. They're like seeing people gamble. They're seeing like I don't know. Just to them, it was just like cool that like what you said. Like this place exists. Like it's not a myth.
Yeah,
It was Lamborghinis parked out and Ferraris, and so
yeah.
it was really fun to go to Vegas with kids that aren't supposed to be at Vegas. So
Yeah, yeah. So I think they're gonna enjoy that. I think we're gonna be good there. There's like, I mean, listen, it is for me. Let's keep it real because I'm also going to a business thing there. So I got a business thing happening. I'm gonna have the kids there. So but I mentioned Vegas and they're like, we're down. Yeah.
yeah,
If I said Al Capone dinner show, they'd be like,
yeah.
we'll just do that. But
Which
Vegas, they're like,
Vegas has a mobster museum.
we might do it.
Uh, hey, listen. Have they ever seen Casino?
My kids can't sit through those movies.
Oh
I
man,
I try to get them to see The Godfather. Listen, this is how crazy I am, right? Because I love that stuff,
yeah.
and I don't know
Well, we
why I
both
love.
share that because my favorite movies are mom movies.
Yeah, to me, it's about the like family and
Yeah,
respect.
I
Oh,
love the aspect. I love everything about them.
I bought I bought the Monopoly game, Godfather, and I said, "All right, we're gonna play Monopoly, Godfather, while watching The Godfather."
Yeah,
So I had The Godfather in the background,
yeah.
and they're like, "Are we really doing this?" I said, "Yes, we are really doing this."
Listen,
So,
I'm gonna tell you. So number one, just about the Godfather. The only good one is the first one,
all right,
but the show about the Godfather was really good.
slammed. Yes.
So that's that. But my kids, so I try to do stuff like that with my kids. And the other thing that I like is video games.
Mm,
Like I'm a gamer, and I turn my kids into gamers like from early on. And they just now finally, I would say last year, they stopped gaming with me. But
mm,
they game on their own every once in a while just as a pastime. And I remember going through that same thing when I was a teenager where I was like, I'm not going to game every day no more. I'm going to go out and live in the world and be out. And then once I became an adult again, I came back to games because I was like, just like
mm,
But the reason I say that is because I'm pretty lucky because out of all the things I could have picked for them to do that I like to do, like try to get them to play the Godfather Monopoly game or watch the movie, and it didn't take well. And I'm sure there's other things that might have taken well, but my daughter is definitely like we were hardcore gamers. And I remember when COVID happened, I went out and bought every system. Well, we already had systems, but we had like one system for all of us. Like we had one PlayStation, one Xbox, like one Nintendo Switch. During COVID, I went out and bought all of us our own systems. So we had three Xboxes, three PlayStations, we
wow.
all had Nintendo Switches. And I remember COVID for me was a blast with my kids because we were gaming all day, every day together in the house. We had to get the fastest internet because we're all on playing at the same time with the headsets on, and they in their rooms talking and we shooting. It was the best time. Now those times are over. They officially don't game with me. I can't get them to game. I game every other night, consistently, religiously, Call of Duty, Warzone, and my daughters used to jump on with me in my squad, and they no longer do that. And it's that
Well,
it's
I'll connect you
that's
with my
how it is.
boys because my
You say
boys play
what?
games. I'll have to connect you with my boys because they play games all day long.
I was
It's a
trying to
problem.
get you to get in on it.
Listen, I've tried. Okay, I'm very competitive. Here's the problem. I'm very competitive and I suck at video games. I don't know what hand-eye coordination I'm missing. Right? Button fast. Listen, I've gone so hard in the paint that I bought modded controllers, special controllers, like fast internet. I like listen to YouTube and they're like, all right, change your direction to this, slow this setting down, add this setting. I get dizzy. I want to throw up.
Did you
Like I
play
can't.
games growing up, like
I mean,
hardcore?
Nintendo. That was my games.
Yeah.
So it's
See,
like first I could see everything. I'm not like moving the switch around and like things are happening behind me. It was like
yeah,
jump on the brick.
I know what you mean. So when they introduced the dual stick controllers, right? X and Y axis controllers, it literally was a learning curve, but most people started young. So like when it came out, I was right there on them. Now it's like subconscious. And I
Mm.
think that's the thing. It's too new for you, and you're not too old, but you don't want no more learning curves.
No, I'm
So
not.
you
Listen,
don't
listen,
push past
listen.
that part. You know what I'm saying? To get to the other side where it starts to feel comfortable. For me, it's
I'm
been comfortable since I was in junior high. Like I've been doing
yeah.
the dual, so it's just yeah, it's too late for you.
I am a mastery person, right? Like I
Hmm.
can't do something half-assed, right? So I
Yeah.
gotta be like good at it. And it would just I tried everything I could. Even trying to get into golf, right? Like I took my kid golfing. I cannot enjoy myself if I suck because I'm losing. But we went golfing, like he came, we went golfing here, and I lost. I told him, I said, Michael, we got like 30 balls. We don't got enough balls. He's like, we have enough balls. And coming down to the 18th hole, we're down to 4. And I'm like, we can't lose anymore. I'm hitting them in the water, I'm hitting them in the woods, and I can't go searching in the woods because there's snakes and bears and
Oh yeah,
tigers in
yeah, because you're
Florida.
in Florida.
Yeah, so
You
I ain't
know
searching for no balls. They're gone.
the fact that you brought up golf. So I've been golfing since I was in seventh grade. So I used to be on the actual. It was called golf club in junior high, and we would go to the links driving range, and we would literally like it was like we got trained, and it was fun. I am I'm the same skill level of when I was in seventh grade. It's the only thing that I've ever tried to do that I have never progressed. Like I go to the driving range all the time. I've been golfing a bunch of times, and I seem to never even get an inch better. It's like it's like no progression ever. For some reason, I hit the and then one year I went
Mm.
to Top Golf in Vegas. And this is not that trip, it's another trip. And I went with some people. And I was smacking them balls so straight. And they was like hitting the back of the net. So then I came back to Top Golf here in Ohio, in Cleveland, and I was doing the same thing. There was two Top Golf trips in a row. Then I brought my buddy who's good at golf because I was showing him. Man, I don't know what happened, but every ball was ching, ching. And to this day, I've been to Top Golf probably like 15 times since then, and I cannot hit it straight again. Like it was like it's broke forever. Like whatever my body's doing, I can never hit the ball straight. and I don't know what happened. It was like weird, and like I hate golf now. I just hate it for the same reason. Like you don't, like you said, you're mad. It's just like I was like, I'm gonna give it up. It's not fun. Like and it's only because I suck.
Yeah, like I got to be at least competitive.
I
Like,
know.
I mean, like you don't want to take me out. Like we're losing every ball we got together.
Listen,
We're doing this together.
at least you honest.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's where we're at. This whole conversation, I don't know where it went, but
Well, I
it's
think
like,
the main thing that you were trying to really talk about was, or maybe essentially like the topic, the general topic was like entrepreneurship, but being a like an entrepreneur father and having kids. And I think it comes down to the same thing where it's like spending like we became entrepreneurs for a reason, right?
yeah,
And I think there's a couple of reasons that we might share. And one reason is for sure freedom, but not even just freedom to do what you want, but it's like, why can't we go to Disney World on Christmas, right? Like one of the things we did for the past literally 5 years in a row, and I'm surprised it was actually my wife's idea, and she was like, let's not celebrate Thanksgiving anymore. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, you have a problem with Thanksgiving? She's like, no, that's an amazing holiday. Let's just go to Disney. And that was became our new tradition was for Thanksgiving, we go to Disney. And the reason we did that is because they have the Christmas decorations up by Thanksgiving.
mm,
And so you don't, so we literally skipped Thanksgiving every year to go to Disney. And that to me is one of those things that an entrepreneur does. It's like, we don't got to do the traditional stuff that you do. We can do whatever we want. We make money. We blah, 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 right? So I think that like me and you are both like that, where we're like, thinks outside of the box of things we can do with our families and our kids. And I just think that like to them it's normal. My daughter told me that when she tells people some of the stuff that we do and some of like me and my wife's philosophy on things, they're like, your parents are like cool. I hate my parents. I'm like, so that's the only time they realize that this is not normal. But to
yeah,
them, this is normal, you know? It's like,
yes, I hear you, man.
and also too, I could probably guarantee I know enough of what you told me. You know enough about my parents that like our parents were a little bit more traditional on how they raised us. So it's like you kind of can't compare us to our kids because like I would have been one of those kids if I was friends with like like my kids if they were back then and they weren't my kids they were somebody else's kids but they was the same people and
That
I was talking
spoiled
to
brat.
them, I would be like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are so lucky!
Yeah,
Oh, you get
yeah.
to do that." So I just think
You
that,
go to
like,
Disney every year. So I call so what you were talking about with your wife, like the
yeah,
food thing, I call
yeah.
it orange chicken syndrome. So the
The
reason why I
what?
call it orange, well, I call it orange chicken syndrom.
Okay,
Now
tell me
I
about that.
say this because every time we would go out to like eat, maybe even the mall, like we would be somewhere in that vicinity. My wife would go out of her way to go get this kid orange chicken from the mall, and that would be his dinner. And we'd be eating dinner somewhere else. And I'm like, this is no more orange chicken. So my kids to this day, like if like we're like, hey, you said it, like my wife will cook something, and then all of a sudden I see her cooking something else. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And it's for the same kid. It's for Isaiah. I'm like, Isaiah, orange chicken syndrome. And then the other kid comes to me. He's like, Isaiah, this orange chicken syndrome. He gets whatever he wants. I'm like, no more. She would literally go out of her way. We stop at the mall just to get orange chicken. It was
Listen,
crazy, man.
but that, like, moms are nurturers and fathers are just like that. Don't make no sense. Like, it's not logical.
You gonna starve.
Yeah, that's why. Listen, my daughter comes to the kitchen, right? Granted, my kids actually eat really healthy, but they're on a whole nother. So both my kids eat better than me and my wife. Okay, so they're
Mhm.
like on a bougie. They're on a bougie level. Okay, so but I'm not eating like hamburger helper and stuff. Like we're eating really healthy stuff too. Like I love the air fryer, so I put everything in the air fryer. Right, I get some chicken breast, throw it in there, season up. I throw everything in the air fryer. Right, so my wife, I mean my daughter, there's one in particular. I ain't gonna call her out, but my wife will go grocery shopping and there's all this food in there. I'm talking about like, you know, the day the groceries come in the house, it's like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, look at it, we got everything. She'll go in the kitchen and be like, oh my gosh, there's nothing to eat. I'm so starving. I'm like, you're not starving. Yes, I am, Dad. I'm starving. I'm like, if you were starving, you would eat something. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't like if I'm starving, I'm gonna eat something, right? You're
Yep.
not starving. You're just complaining. And it's just like in my brain, I'm like, you don't like this, you don't like this, you don't like this, you don't like this, you don't
Right.
like. I'm like grabbing all this stuff, and it's like, no, I don't like that, I don't like that, I don't like that, I don't like that. And it's just like, girl, I don't know what to do for you because it's like I don't go grocery shopping, so I don't even know how to help you out. So
Yeah, I know. Well, I tell the mom, she's like, he's not going to eat. I said, he'll eat eventually. He'll
yeah,
figure it out. He'll be hungry enough to eat whatever whatever drops.
yeah.
All right. Well, that was
Well,
good.
well, I'll say one last little thing, and this is something I had to come to grips with. And I think it's a societal thing, and I also think it's our fault as parents, like us in particular, like my fault and your fault. But it's not fault as in you did something horrible. It's just now the consequences are going to come. I think that the way we were raised, for the most part, our generation, right? I think you're only a couple years older than me. We were very self-reliant, very independent,
Mm,
and we had to figure out a lot of stuff in real time. It was very practical, very hands-on, because technology was just starting, right? And like now, everything is at your fingertips, everything's accessible, and I think our kids will never be us. And I think that it's very rare for like Michael Jordan's son just to be as driven as Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan had stuff that his son, to push him forward, that his son will never have, you know? And I think sometimes we forget that what made us who we are was the circumstances of how we were raised and what we were trying to accomplish. And I feel like we kind of took that away from our kids, but there's no way to not do it. You would have to be unsuccessful. When success comes a certain privilege. And I think the
mm,
one thing we have to realize as parents, this is what I've been trying to tell my wife, is that I think our kids are just going to be with us longer. Like we're going to be doing longer parenting, meaning that when my daughters go to college and come back, they might come back home for a while. They might need their mom and dad to help guide them just a little bit longer in life, because there's an intelligence level that our kids have versus us at their age, but there's a lower maturity level. So they're smarter than we were at that. When you were 15 and your son is at 15, he's probably way more intelligent than you, not only because he has access to more information, but his
right.
maturity level versus then is like lower.
Mm,
And I think that
true.
that makes a unique kid, and then that makes a unique adult. And so I think that we're going to start to feel like we're going to have to just be like in our kids' lives a little bit longer. And instead of teaching them to go get the resources and teach them how to be a go-getter and a hustler, we're going to have to teach them how to preserve the resources that
Mm,
we've created, that they're going to get access to at some point. At least they at least at the bare minimum might get a house, right? So like I think it's more about preserving with the, and I think when you think like that, okay, it makes sense. It's like, yeah, they don't have to be at the poker table with their last money trying to, pay their rent, and all of a sudden you hear this story like, yeah, I was homeless and I went to play poker and now I'm a millionaire. Like,
yeah.
you don't have to do that, because I'm not saying that's your story. I'm just, that's not your story. Let me make it clear, but I'm just using an example. The parent who's gone through that, their kids shouldn't have to go through that same story, right? So I don't know. That's a little something to chew on for the world.
I like it. All right. Well, that's it for today, man. Until next time.
Until next time. Hey, these are fun.
All right. What I need you to do is look up the difference between StreamYard and Streamlabs, or this is called Studio Talk by Streamlabs or whatever, and see
Okay.
which one is better.
All right. I will. I'll do
All right.
that.
All right. See ya.
See ya.